Balto if it were like psychological horror and you're a human, not a dog. I feel like I just rambled a ton and I don't know if it's gonna come together. I just live by the edge of my seat. My brain likes it. He's my new crush, guys. I'm sorry. Life-changing books. The man, the myth, the legend. Hi, I'm Sam. There's quite literally no one asking me to do this, but it is the end of June. And thus it is mid-year freakout tag season. So I thought it'd be fun to do this tag again this year. This is one of few tags that I like to do. It's kind of just a nice little check-in for me, for you, because then I can kind of reflect on what I've been reading and kind of get in the right headspace for the last half of the year. So the first question is the best book you've read so far this year. And I don't know what it is, but every year it's like end of January, early February. That is when I read life-changing books. Because I read this book back at the end of January and it's still obviously the best thing I've read so far this year. So that is Stoner by John Williams. This is very much a book that on paper does not seem like it would be for me. It seems like it would be very boring. But for me, John Williams' writing is just so beautiful. And it's like I savor every sentence he writes. He only wrote 4 books, and I've already made my way through 3 of them. And I'm kind of already sort of mourning the moment that I finish his 4th book, because then I'll have read everything he's written. So Stoner, it was definitely the best of the 3 that I've read so far, or at least the one that resonated with me the most. You can see I annotated a ton. It's just beautiful, gorgeous writing. It makes my brain happy to read these words on this paper. And I've already talked about this kind of a lot on my channel so far this year, but I really think you should read it. I think as long as you don't mind really insular reads and being in the mind of a very solitary character, and you don't mind if there's not a ton of plot, not a ton happening, you are fine with just going along with this person as they live their very quiet, slow, contemplative life, I think you'd really like this. I think you should at least give it a try because the writing is just astounding. So please read Stoner and then let me know if you like it. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far this year. So I think when this tag was originally created, it was very much for like the fantasy girlies, and that's not me, but I do read a lot of manga series. So I have read several series so far this year, but I will say I think the best sequel is The Summer Hikaru Died. So this is a pretty new series. I think only 3 volumes are out. This one kind of blew me away. I am really enjoying my time with it. So the premise of Summer Hikaru Died is that this boy's friend named Hikaru had gone missing on the mountain that their town is situated on for about a week, and then he came back and the friend now suspects that it's not actually Hikaru. So it's really good kind of like psychological horror, but then there are also some pretty good body horror moments as well. It takes place in the summer too, so I think I've just really enjoyed reading that, especially now that we're getting into those hot sticky months, at least here in the northern hemisphere. So yeah, I really liked it. I really liked the art style. I'm liking the story so far, so I'm really looking forward to the next volume when it comes out. Number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. So that is All Fours by Miranda July. This came out literally like 2 days after my birthday. I want to read this so badly, but I don't know. It's like such a big sensory thing for me, reading a hardcover book. I really cannot stand it. And it's not that I don't think it's a gorgeous edition or anything. It really is just like, for me, the thought of like holding a hardcover book, it's like, it just distracts me from the reading. I just think paperback books are so much more comfortable to read. It seems like everyone who I've seen review this has really liked it. I love Miranda July. I loved The First Bad Man. So it's almost like this is for sure gonna be a great read for me. So I just need to like figure out how to read hardcover books more comfortably. I don't know. Number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't really keep up with what's being released. I just live by the edge of my seat. I'm not the booktuber you come to for like, these are the new releases that you haven't heard of yet. Because I'm the one watching those videos to try to figure out, because I do not keep up with that. And I also read a lot of backlist too. So I think that's why I'm like, bro, we need to like pause on book publishing for a second, because I'm already so behind, you know? Anyway, Sam, what's your most anticipated new release? So I looked ahead and the final volume of Blood on the Tracks is being released in September. So definitely bittersweet. I feel like I've been with this series for a really long time, based basically from the beginning. I am glad it's wrapping up though, because, you know, when series get so long into like dozens of volumes, it just gets to be a little too overwhelming, especially as a collector. So definitely glad it's capping at 17 volumes. I'm really not sure how the story's gonna wrap up. These last few volumes have kind of taken a weird turn, but I'm really looking forward to it nonetheless. And I think as soon as I read the final volume, I'll probably go back to the beginning and reread it all together again. So yeah, blood on the tracks, girlies. Our time is coming. Number 5 is the biggest disappointment of the year. So yeah, I think this was one I really thought that I was gonna like, and I didn't. So that is The Blizzard by Vladimir Sorokin. Never read anything by this author, but I really think it's just a me problem. I think that this author's writing just isn't really for me. What interested me about this is that we're following a doctor through this blizzard, and he's trying to get these like vaccines or like medicine to this village where a mysterious epidemic is turning people into zombies. So very much like Balto vibes, okay? Balto if it were like psychological horror and you're a human, not a dog. This sounded interesting. It kind of seemed like it was going to be very absurd and off the wall, psychological horror, spooky, scary skeletons. So I was like, yeah, that sounds right up my alley. But I don't think that the absurdity was pulled off well at all. Honestly, this might be the worst, absurdist piece of literature I've ever read. I mean, again, it's just for me. I think people love this author, but it was too grounded in reality for like the first 3/4. And then all of a sudden, it's like this giant snowman with a giant penis. By this point, as a reader, I'm already so acclimated and everything that's happening seems very real and grounded in reality and not crazy enough. And then all of a sudden, we're like blindsided by this crazy scene, and it just felt very jarring, and it really pulled me out of it. It almost felt like he had been writing and writing and writing, and then he was like, oh, this was supposed to be like an absurdist novel. Oh, gotta like make up for lost time. And then just like put in all this weird stuff and was like, that'll do it. You know, they'll never know. So I don't know. This was disappointing, and I don't think you should read it. Okay, number 6 is Biggest Surprise. This is one I just finished, like a couple days ago. And this was a surprise because it's a short story collection. I notoriously don't really like short story collections, or they just feel like pulling teeth for me. But this was a collection where I was like finding myself wanting to get back to it and wanting to pick it back up. So that is Bonding by Maggie Siebert. This is a indie horror short story collection. I also didn't know this was short stories when I was going into it, which I don't know why. It literally has a table of contents with the like different story names. So I was like, those are chapter titles. Nope, they are different short stories, Sam. But this has a super cool cover. The inside like design too, like the text choices are really cool. It's very rare for me to read a short story collection and like every single one. Like even the ones where I was like, it wasn't as good, I still really liked it and I still would recommend it. I've been kind of thinking about it. This is a very big commitment and like a very strong statement, but I think this might be the best short story collection I've ever read. Like, I feel like I'm getting married. That seems like such a commitment, but it's true. Like this was really good. And I think for me, short stories get very exhausting because the pacing feels so hard to get used to. But these stories were paced very well. They were like the exact right length. These felt good to read. I liked the horror. I thought the horror was very unique. One really big shining star in this collection is Coping. And it's about this woman who is trying to get over an ex-boyfriend, and she's just like really pissed off and has like no way to like cope with that. So she goes to this company. It's like augmented reality. You hire them to build this simulation of whatever you want. So in her case, she's like, I want these simulations of me just like murdering my ex-boyfriend in the most gruesome ways so that she would have like an outlet for all this rage that she has about the breakup and how badly he mistreated her. And that's so unique. And that was obviously such a great setup for so many scenes of gore and so many great kills, but also like psychological horror too. Like what are the implications of a person who is continually buying into these simulations as a way to cope? Is that healthy? So I think Maggie Siebert is a very good short story writer. I will definitely be looking in to see if they've written anything else because me likey, and I think you should read it too. Okay guys, number 7, new favorite author. That's gotta be my boy, John Williams. The man, the myth, the legend. So, he wrote Stoner, which I read. Butcher's Crossing, which I read. Nothing But the Night, which I read. It's pretty rare for me to like burn through a writer's bibliography. Is that the word? Whatever. To burn through all the books that a writer has written in such a short amount of time. I don't know. I'm on a John Williams kick, guys. He's got great writing. I love to read the words that he put on a page with my eyeballs. My brain likes it. So he's my new favorite author. Number 8, new fictional crush. I hate to be this person. I really do. But it's gotta be Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. I know. I get it. Yeah. Listen. There's a reason he's so popular, okay? The hype is real, and I am part of the hype. He's cool, he's powerful, he's got the charisma. He's a good character. He's my new crush, guys. I'm sorry. Number 9, new favorite character. This is another pretty new read as well. I just started watching and reading Chainsaw Man, and I love Denji, the main character, so much. And I think I love him so much because he is a shonen protagonist. So like if he were a character in any other series or book, I would just be like, oh, he's kind of just like a stupid, raunchy high school boy, you know? But I think I really like Denji because most shonen protagonists are like trying to chase these lofty goals and these lofty dreams, and they're sacrificing so much of their time and energy to improve themselves so that they can achieve this dream that seems impossible. But Denji, he's really just like living day to day. He's like, I'm happy to finally have a roof over my head. I'm happy to be eating. And when he starts making goals, he starts very small and it's just like, I want to touch a girl's boobs for the first time. I want to kiss a girl for the first time. There's just something very sweet about like how naive that is. And yeah, he's just like somehow equal parts like really raunchy and gross and just like this like immature teenage boy. And also just like sweet and pure and wholesome. I don't know, there's just like something very interesting about his dynamic and like the dichotomy of him. And obviously I also really like him because he can turn into a really cool devil and is very violent and funny. Okay, number 10, a book that made you cry. That has to be A Girl on the Shore by Inio Asano. Dude, Inio Asano, he has a way of depicting human emotion in a way that makes me feel some human emotions. This one was a f***ing bummer, guys. This was another, like, one of the best things I've read so far this year. Very freaking good and sad. Ugh. So there's this character who we knew had died by suicide. And part of the story, we get to see, like, the brother writing out and basically explaining his brother's suicide to someone else. And that hurted. That hurted. That was devastating and soul crushing. Definitely got to be in the right headspace for this one, but Inio Asano is a master of depicting human emotion in a way that will crush you and mangle you and chew you up and spit you out, but in a good way. Number 11, book that made you happy. So I'm going to choose another manga series that I've been reading this year, which is Dorohedoro. I already talked about this a little bit, but this is about 2 friends who live in this world where sorcerers exist. And it's sort of like the world is split up into like sorcerers and non-sorcerers. And the sorcerers can infiltrate into the non-sorcerer world. I feel like I'm saying sorcerer a lot. God, it's like really, okay. And practice their magic on non-sorcerers. And our main character, Kaiman, is this guy who has a lizard head. He's trying to find the sorcerer who did this to him because he has no memory. This one's just a lot of fun. This one is so funny. The art style is awesome. It's gory, it's violent, it's funny, it's cuckoo, crazy bananas, and it makes me happy. Number 12, most beautiful book you acquired this year. So normally I do like quick cuts of a bunch of books, but I feel like I've already talked a lot about the books that I've recently bought this year. So I wanted to pick one, which I don't think I've talked about yet. That is Wrath. Look at that beautiful blue rat. This is basically about Sammy, who is a brown rat that is being experimented on. And basically he is able to amass this army who are like trying to fight back against the people experimenting on them. So yeah, the wrath is going to be like the wrath of these lab rats who are being experimented on. And just a gorgeous cover, gorgeous spine, just good times all around. But then like inside too. The inside's really pretty. This like bright orange. We got a like DNA strand on the front. And then the back cover is like a bunch of little rats. You see them? I don't know if you can see that, but there are rats. So that's the prettiest one. 13 is books you want to finish before the end of the year. I do want to finish the Dorohedoro series, especially since it's completed. I think I've read like 1 through 8 so far, and I just kind of got out of it, but I need to get back into it. Want to finish that one. And then, as bittersweet as it will be, I really do want to read and finish John Williams' last book, which is Augustus. Last question, number 14, favorite BookTube community members. So I gotta say, Angie from Maybe I'll Read Today, Monica from Dog-Eared Musings, Kat from Lit with Cat, and then Pato from also Pato. Those are my 4 go-tos lately. Okay guys, that's the mid-year book freakout tag. These are some books that I just discussed in the different questions. Let me know what you're reading. What you loving? Have you read any of the books I just discussed? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Let me know. You could like this video if you wanted. You could watch my other videos if you want. You could subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.